Hello, I'm Matthew Malcolm with California Ag Network, reporting to you here today from Fresno, an inaugural Ag Breakfast Club that met here at Pismo's. A lot of farmers here got together with the guest speaker, Steve Hilton. I'm sure you've seen him before on TV. He's a contributor to Fox News, and he's founder of Golden Together. And so you can tell us a little bit about what that means. But the farmers that were here in attendance were in for a real treat. They got to be on national television as Steve talked about some important issues in water and what we're dealing with here in the state. So tell us a little about today.
Well, it's great to be here. Thank you so much for this and the opportunity to speak to everyone. So Golden Together is an organization I started a couple of years ago. In fact, our very first event was here in Fresno. And it's a policy organization, and it's got a very simple mission: restoring the California dream, ideas to restore the California dream. And so that applies to all the issues, of course. You know, like we have a massive housing crisis in California. Our schools aren't doing the job that they need to do, right across the board. But agriculture, our farming industry, is so close to my heart. My family are Hungarian. My roots are in an agricultural area in Hungary. I grew up in the UK. I've started and run businesses myself, so I feel it very deeply. And I just cannot stand to see what is happening to our farming industry. We have the most incredible fertile agricultural land in the world, this incredible opportunity. And instead of supporting that industry, we see these policies year after year, now decade after decade, that have been making life impossible for farmers. And of course, it's the water issue, but it's not just the water issue. You look at the regulations around pesticides and the permitting process and the labor rate, on and on. Everything is that could possibly be being done to hurt this industry is what they're doing right now. We've got to change all that. And that's what I was talking about today. We need a revolution in California. We need to be not just stopping the harassment of our farmers and our agriculture industry. We need to support them. So not just, doing better with what we've got in terms of water. We need to build the storage and the systems to get the water to where it's needed. We need to increase allocations. All this talk of, you might get 5%, 15%, 20% of your... No, you should get 100%. That's what we need. We need to increase the strength of this industry. We need to grow it, not just in relation to water, but in terms of all these regulations. And so I was very, very happy to be here to say that you've got a champion for this industry in me. I love this industry. I love this part of our beautiful state, and I want to do everything I can to help this industry grow.
Well, I really appreciate your voice for agriculture on national TV and all that you do to support there. And one of the things that it's been discussed that you reported that you're considering candidacy for governor, and so to have a Republican governor in California, I think a lot of people are considering, well, is that even possible? You talked a little bit today about what that could mean for agriculture and the possibility. We've got a new president, we've got a new executive branch here, but despite that, a lot of it's not having much of an effect in California because of what we're dealing with here. But also we've had these fires down south. You kind of illustrated a picture of how things are changing, the sentiment of the California people.
Look, that's exactly right. As you said, I'm strongly considering running for governor of California. We'll be making some final decisions not too long in the future. And the reason for that is that it's not enough just to talk about all these things and complain about all these things. We've got to make change happen. And just to be really clear about it, the only way we're going to save this industry is to elect a Republican governor. Because in the end, so much of the bad stuff that is hurting this industry, it comes from the executive branch, the agencies, the bureaucracies, whether that's the pesticide board, the water resource, we could go on and on, CARB, the air resources board. There are so many different bits of the bureaucracy that are hurting this industry. We've got to take control of it. And people say, well, you're never going to elect a Republican. I've heard that for years. Well, things are changing. You look what happened in the 2024 election just a few months ago here in California, and you look at the estimate of how many votes you'd need to win statewide in California as a Republican. President Trump just got more than enough votes than what we will need to win. The votes are there. The Republican votes are there. We just saw that in 2024 for President Trump. We need to go out and get them, make sure people turn out. The second big thing that's happened, these terrible wildfires in Los Angeles, as you mentioned, they are of course, an absolute tragedy for everyone who's been affected. People have lost their lives, they've lost their homes, they've lost everything. The cost is astronomical. But the other thing that's happening is it's woken people up to the destruction that's been caused by these years and years of failed policies. Because those fires, the only reason they were so bad was, again, because of these agencies. It was the California Air Resources Board, CARB, and the Coastal Commission there in Los Angeles that actively stopped people from clearing the brush on the hills that just burnt. This is not theoretical. This is what actually happened. I've spoken to people who were there, who wanted to clear the brush because they could see how dangerous it was. The build-up over decades. It was 2000 that they published these new air quality rules that stop things like controlled burns and the clearances to protect some tiny little flower. I mean, this is insane. And so people are realizing now that combination of ideological extremism, the climate extremism, all these policies that we see causing such problem for year after year, plus the incompetence and the mismanagement that you saw in Los Angeles and across the county and in Southern California. We see that across our state. And so people, I think, are now realizing it's really shocked people. So what are we doing? We cannot go on like this. So I think the time is absolutely right for a really big change in California. My show on Fox News used to be called The Next Revolution. So here's what I say the whole time. Let's make the next revolution the California Revolution.
Well, thank you so much, Steve. As an agricultural reporter myself, it's just talking the talk isn't enough. So I'm really inspired by your remarks that it sounds like you're getting ready to not just talk the talk, but really go and take some action on that. So look forward to hearing more about that. Read more about these things in our publications. I'm Matthew Malcolm, CaliforniaAgNet.com.